We want to bring in on the Truck Center Company's hotline Drake Beranek. He is the head coach for the Kearney Boys. Coach, thanks a lot for coming on today.
You bet. Thanks for having us.
Coach, last week, obviously an emotional one for your team, but it ended good with the wins on the court. How important was it at the end of that week that there was guys that could just kind of go out there and play and play for the school and the town that night?
I think I'm just super proud of the response that our kids had. And again, I mean, it's never over. I mean, there's always things you got to figure out on the fly and kind of move forward from and things like that. But just speaking from experience, there's people grieve differently, and I think it was super important for our guys to get out on the basketball floor and kind of let some emotions go and just get escape from some things. And man, did it look pretty impressive over the weekend for us. So just super proud of the strength that our kids showed, and hopefully that was able to resonate throughout our community.
The video of your post-game speech went a little bit viral there over the weekend, and it seemed like the thing that came out of that was the key phrase was play for something bigger than yourself. Has that been something that you've talked about throughout the year, or was that kind of a on-the-moment type thing?
No, it's just one of those things that has been ingrained in me from a small age, and I think we've talked about it a bunch, but I think that's where we really started to turn the corner here in this little stretch of games is going into GNAC and playing Norfolk, where we're stuck together with a group of guys for 3 straight days. And this is a big school, and I don't know that our guys necessarily bonded super great until then. It sounds cliche, but you can just see our guys enjoying each other a lot more, playing for each other a lot more. And, there's just a better sense of purpose for why we're playing the game. And, if you don't have a belief system in something, or if you're doing something solely for your own good, you're never going to maximize your potential. And our guys are starting to figure that out, that you got to play for something bigger than yourself. And it's amazing at what can happen when you're doing things for other people.
You mentioned something that had been ingrained in you for a long time. Obviously, your dad, Coach Beranek, Coach Paul Beranek, left a huge impression, not just on you, but on a lot of people from the Ravenna area. I got to ask, this is your second year as head coach there at Kearney, a couple years at Holdridge. Your coaching career, as it's still fairly young in that career part, but has there been moments where you have kind of caught yourself and said, "Wow, I sound exactly like Dad"?
Yeah, I mean, I got a few text messages from people on great message or whatever. And honestly, I mean, I've seen so many of them. I just I stole a page out of my dad's book. I mean, when you're around a coach like he was, you're going to pick up on different things. And I've been fortunate enough to not only be around him, but be around guys like Jim Weeks and Coach Sadler and Coach Kropp. And when I'm sitting in on a speech or something, I'm not just sitting there knowing that someday I want to be a coach. I mean, I'm listening. I'm taking it one step further, and how can I apply this to my own teams? And so it's just kind of a melting pot of all the great coaches I've been around. Coach Creech. But definitely that whole speech, you kind of sit there and think, that was Dad to a T, and it's pretty awesome to be able to help kids experience some of the same experiences that I was able to experience, and be able to do that with my dad being the head coach was just an amazing feeling.
Coaching tree aside, and you've had that chance to be under some pretty incredible coaches in the state of Nebraska, and obviously playing at the Division I level. How much of each of those coaches do you bring to practice each and every day?
I purposely try to make an intentional effort to take a piece of each of the coaches that I really enjoyed and try to incorporate that into my own coaching style. Jim Weeks is a great motivator and has high expectations for kids, and we try to do that. And I constantly find myself talking like Coach Weeks and different things. And Coach Creech was a phenomenal organization guy. I mean, he ran a whole college program basically by himself with 2 GAs that don't really know what's going on. Me and Coach Slough sometimes those were the two. So he pretty much one man that thing. And so try to do some different organizational things like him. Then Coach Crop is just phenomenal when it comes to fundamentals and having high expectations for individuals, and learned a lot about how to compete the right way from him. And then obviously Coach Sadler defensively, I learned a ton of different rotations, and then just the different side of game planning for people with kind of a D1 look. And then my overarching umbrella will always be my dad and how he coached us and the tradition that we were able to build at Ravenna. But to be able to sprinkle in some improvements or different ways of looking at things from other successful coaches has just been huge for my own experience as a coach.
Let's talk about your season now for the guys. You've won 5 straight, 7 of the last 8. After you guys started 1-3, what's been the biggest difference in the turnaround for you guys?
Like I said, I think the GNAC tournament was huge. And the other thing is we started off with a tough schedule, and we knew we did. But we had some kids that didn't have a whole lot of, high school experience, and there was going to be some growing pains. And I wasn't able to play through some mistakes with some guys that I needed to be able to play through because every possession felt like it was monumental. And we were lucky enough to get a game against, like a McCook or somebody like that where we can play a little bit more freely and feel like we're a little bit more talented. And I was able to let some kids play through some mistakes and get them some confidence. And then again, just being around each other for 3 straight days, I really, really think that was a turning point. And then going one step further, I think our guys are really believing in the process and believing in what we can do. And they're starting to see that, hey, maybe we are kind of an all right team. And, I watched a bunch of stuff last night on BTN, and every coach was talking about belief. And so, I think that's the big thing right now is we believe that we can be successful at a big stage, and our guys are really buying into that. And if you don't have belief, you won't get buy-in. And so we started with belief. Now we got some buy-in. Now we got to continue to keep the momentum going.
Let's talk about some of your players. Cannon Coster is a name that a few more people across the state are picking up on more and more all the time. But looking at your stats, you guys have, I think it's 11 guys that have played 9 or more games. So you're obviously getting some contributions up and down your roster.
Yeah, it's a different guy every night that steps up. The last couple games we're on the streak here. Trey Clevenger stepped up. Carson Schwartz has stepped up. Guys have got the double digits that weren't yet the double digits the first start of the year. And again, that's having confidence in people and kids having confidence in themselves. And Cannon Coster is a phenomenal talent. He probably hasn't scored it quite as well of late, but what I've been super impressed with was he doesn't care. You look at him at the end of the game after he scores 12 when he's used to scoring 20-some, and you wouldn't know the difference. And so to be able to celebrate other people's success on your own team, it doesn't matter who gets it done as long as it gets done. I couldn't be more proud of the kid. And, I've been in that situation where you score some points and you feel like that's what you bring to the table. But he started a defensive rebound, get hands on balls and get steals. He had 4 assists one game. It's just he's becoming more of a complete player, and just super proud of the growth that he's shown up to this point in the season.
As you go forward, some good games. I know you're going to get another crack at Norfolk coming up later in the year. What's the message as you guys go through the rest of your schedule?
One of the best quotes I've ever heard was from Coach Slough, and we talk about it all the time. For every 1,000 that can handle failure, it's easy. It's not easy to handle failure, but you got to work harder when you fail. For every 1,000 that can handle failure, but 1 can handle success. And it's super hard when you're successful to continue to hold yourself accountable, to continue to work hard, to continue to push forward. And our guys have got to get a grasp around how much more we have to work when we become successful. And if you think that we've accomplished anything middle of January, then you're confused and you're wrong and you're in the wrong program. So we talk about it on a daily basis of how are we going to compete, how we're going to continue the momentum, how we're going to continue to hold ourselves accountable and not get complacent. So, right now that's where we're at is focusing on the little things and the simple things that equal big things. And right now we've done that. We've rebounded well. We took care of the basketball. All these little things add up to big things. And, so super proud of the growth of our kids right now, and it's just got to continue. And it comes with hard work and staying focused.
Coach, it has been a lot of fun to watch you guys develop throughout the year. We can't wait to see what the rest of January, February, and maybe even March will bring. That is Drake Beranek, the head coach of the Kearney Boys. Thanks a lot for joining us today.
All right, thanks for having us, guys. Just let me know when you want me back on. I'm always ready to share some words, man.